Silence is often mistaken for weakness, for emptiness, for absence. But listen closely, and you will discover it is none of those things. Silence is a doorway. It is the moment before truth speaks, the space where the soul gathers its breath. For 21 days, we are invited to step away from the noise that names us, measures us, and tells us who to be. In that quiet, something remarkable begins to happen. The world loosens its grip, and we finally hear the sound of our own becoming. This is not a retreat from life, this is a return to it. Today, we begin a journey where silence is not something we fear, but something that teaches us how to rise. Silence is not a hollow place where nothing happens. It is a sacred room where everything begins. When the world grows quiet around you, your inner world finally has space to stand tall. Silence is not the absence of life. It is life holding its breath, preparing itself. Just as dawn does not rush into morning, growth does not announce itself with noise. It gathers slowly, patiently, in moments when no one is watching and no one is applauding. In silence, the soul stretches. It reaches beyond old fears, past tired beliefs, and loosens the knots formed by constant survival. Noise keeps us reacting, but silence allows us to respond. It gives us time to feel what we have been avoiding and to understand what we have been carrying. When everything becomes quiet, you realize how much strength you've been holding without ever acknowledging it. Silence becomes the mirror that shows you not who you pretend to be, but who you truly are. Preparation is rarely loud. The seed does not shout before it breaks the soil. The heart does not announce its healing before it beats stronger. Silence is the training ground of resilience. It is where courage practices without witnesses and where faith learns to stand without reassurance. In these quiet moments, you are not wasting time. You are building yourself. You are gathering the energy that will later move mountains and change directions. Many people fear silence because it asks for honesty. In silence, excuses fall away. Masks become heavy. Yet this is exactly why silence is powerful. It strips life down to what matters. It teaches you patience when you want speed and wisdom when you demand answers. Silence does not rush you. It prepares you to move with purpose. It shapes you before it sends you forward. There is strength forming in you right now that does not need applause to exist. Silence teaches you to trust that unseen work is still real work. Every quiet breath, every moment of reflection, every pause instead of reaction is shaping a stronger version of you. The world celebrates loud victories, but silence builds lasting ones. What grows quietly often stands the longest. When you emerge from silence, you do not come back empty-handed. You return with clarity, steadiness, and a deeper understanding of yourself. You speak with intention because you have learned the value of listening. You move with confidence because you have learned patience. Silence prepares you not to escape life, but to meet it fully, grounded, awake, and unafraid. So do not fear the quiet seasons of your life. They are not pauses, they are preparations. They are the unseen chapters where your strength is learning how to rise. When the noise fades, something gentle begins to stir within you. At first, it feels unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable, because you have spent so long responding to the world's demands that you forgot how it feels to simply exist. Silence removes the labels placed on you by others, the titles, the expectations, the constant opinions, and what remains is raw and real. In that quiet space, you are no longer performing. You are finally present. For most of our lives, we answer to names given by the world: strong, weak, successful, behind, enough, not enough. These names are spoken loudly and repeatedly until we believe they define us. But silence takes those borrowed identities and gently sets them aside. It asks no questions and offers no judgment. It waits patiently, allowing you to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. In silence, your true name does not arrive as a sound. It arrives as a feeling. It feels like relief in your chest, like honesty in your breath. It feels like coming home after a long journey where you forgot where you started. You begin to recognize your own needs, your own limits, your own dreams without interference. The voice you hear is not demanding or cruel. It is steady, truthful, and deeply familiar. This is where reconnection happens. You remember what matters to you, not what impresses others. You remember what hurts you, not what you've been pretending doesn't. Silence allows you to sit with your emotions without rushing to fix them or hide them. It teaches you that awareness is the first step toward healing, and acceptance is the first form of self-respect. Hearing your own name means recognizing your worth without applause. It means understanding that your value does not depend on productivity, approval, or constant motion. Silence teaches you to stand still without feeling guilty, to rest without explaining, and to exist without justification. In this stillness, confidence is rebuilt from the inside out. As the days of silence pass, you begin to trust yourself again. Decisions feel clearer, boundaries feel necessary, not selfish. You start responding to life instead of reacting to it. The more you listen inwardly, the less power external noise has over you. What once shook you now passes by without permission to stay. When you finally step back into the noise of the world, you carry something unshakable with you. You carry self-recognition. You know your name now, not the one shouted by pressure or fear, but the one whispered by truth. And once you hear it, once you truly recognize yourself, the world can never name you incorrectly again. Stillness asks for something most people avoid: the courage to remain, to stay seated when every instinct tells you to escape, to pause when distraction feels easier than truth. Stillness is not passive, it is a deliberate choice to stop running from yourself. In a world that rewards constant motion, choosing stillness feels almost rebellious. Yet it is in that quiet resistance that real strength begins to form. When you sit with yourself, unanswered thoughts rise to the surface. Old memories knock. Unfinished emotions ask to be seen. This is why stillness feels heavy at first. It removes the exits. There is no scrolling to hide behind, no noise to drown out discomfort. You are left with your own presence, and that can feel intimidating. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to stay even when fear speaks. Listening without running away requires honesty. Stillness reveals patterns you didn't notice while rushing. It shows you where you've been betraying your own needs to keep others comfortable. It shows you where exhaustion has been mistaken for ambition and silence mistaken for peace. These realizations may feel uncomfortable, but they are also freeing. Awareness is the beginning of change, and stillness is where awareness is born. There is bravery in allowing emotions to exist without judging them. Stillness teaches you that feelings are not emergencies, they are messages. You don't have to fix everything the moment it appears. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is sit, breathe, and let understanding arrive on its own time. In stillness, patience becomes a form of self-respect. As you practice remaining present, something shifts. The fear of your own thoughts begins to lose its grip. You realize that you are not fragile for feeling deeply. You are human. You discover that you can hold discomfort without breaking, uncertainty without panicking, and silence without feeling lost. This realization builds a quiet confidence that does not need validation. Stillness also teaches boundaries. When you learn to sit with yourself, you become less dependent on external noise for reassurance. You stop chasing constant approval and start honoring your inner signals. You recognize when to speak and when to step back. This is not withdrawal from life, it is engagement with clarity. Over time, stillness strengthens your relationship with yourself. You learn to trust your instincts because you've taken the time to hear them. You learn to make decisions from alignment instead of urgency. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable, even grounding. Courage grows not through force, but through presence. Choosing stillness does not mean life becomes easier, but it becomes clearer. You respond instead of react, you act instead of escape, and with each moment you choose to stay, you prove to yourself that you are capable of meeting life fully, without running away from who you are becoming. There are lessons that refuse to be spoken aloud. They do not arrive dressed in explanations or wrapped in perfect sentences. They come quietly, settling into you when you stop demanding answers. Silence teaches in a language older than words, a language felt rather than heard. It speaks through awareness, through realization, through moments when understanding simply arrives without announcement. Words often try to control meaning. They argue, persuade, and explain, but silence allows truth to unfold naturally. In silence, you begin to notice what you usually overlook: the way your body reacts before your mind decides, the way your heart knows before logic catches up. These realizations are subtle, yet they are powerful. They stay with you because you discovered them yourself, not because someone told you what to believe. The deepest lessons do not shout. They settle slowly, like dust in still air. Silence teaches you patience by removing urgency. It teaches humility by reminding you that not everything needs a response. When there is no noise to lean on, you learn how to trust your inner sense of direction. You stop asking the world to confirm what you already know inside. In silence, you learn the truth about people, situations, and yourself. Without constant conversation, intentions become clearer. Without explanations, actions speak more honestly. Silence reveals what words often hide. It shows you who respects your boundaries, who understands your pauses, and who only listens when you are loud. These lessons can be uncomfortable, but they are necessary. There is also healing in what is left unsaid. Silence teaches you that closure does not always come through conversations or apologies. Sometimes closure arrives when you accept what is, without needing it to be explained. In that acceptance, peace replaces resistance. You stop replaying conversations and start releasing them. Silence teaches emotional maturity. It shows you that not every thought deserves a voice, and not every feeling needs to be shared immediately. You learn restraint, discernment, and inner balance. You realize that wisdom often looks like listening more and speaking less. This kind of strength does not seek attention, yet it commands respect. The echoes of silent lessons last longer than spoken advice. Words can be forgotten, but experiences absorbed in silence shape behavior, choices, and character. They influence how you respond under pressure and how you treat yourself when no one is watching. These lessons become part of you, quietly guiding your steps. As you move through life, you begin to recognize the value of quiet understanding. You no longer rush to explain yourself to everyone. You become comfortable letting silence speak on your behalf. There is confidence in that calm and clarity in that restraint. Silence teaches what words cannot because it does not compete for attention. It waits. And when you are ready, it gives you truths that stay long after the moment has passed. Lessons that echo through your actions, your decisions, and the way you carry yourself in the world. Pain does not disappear just because it is ignored. It waits. It settles into the body, the breath, the pauses between smiles. For a long time, many of us learn to talk over our pain, to keep explaining, joking, staying busy so we don't have to feel what aches underneath. But when you stop speaking, when you allow silence to sit beside you, pain finally feels safe enough to rise, not to punish you, but to be acknowledged. Silence removes the performance. There is no audience to impress, no strength to prove, no story to polish. In that quiet, pain does not need dramatic language. It simply exists. It shows itself through heaviness, through memories, through emotions you thought you had already overcome. This is not weakness. This is honesty. Pain does not want attention. It wants permission. When you stop filling every moment with words, you begin to hear what your wounds have been trying to say. They speak through fatigue that sleep cannot fix, through irritation that has no clear cause, through sadness that arrives without warning. Silence teaches you to listen without judgment. Instead of asking, What's wrong with me? You begin asking, what happened to me? And in that shift, compassion begins. Pain speaks loudest in silence because it no longer has to compete. It no longer fights against distractions or forced positivity. It no longer needs to interrupt your life to be noticed. Silence invites pain to sit down, to explain itself slowly, without fear of being dismissed. And when pain is heard, it softens, not immediately, not magically, but honestly. Healing does not begin with fixing, it begins with listening. Silence gives you the space to feel without rushing to resolve. You learn that emotions do not need solutions as much as they need understanding. Grief needs time, hurt needs gentleness, fear needs reassurance, not resistance. Silence teaches you to stay instead of escape. There is courage in allowing pain to exist without silencing it. Many people confuse healing with forgetting, but silence shows you that healing is remembering without being overwhelmed. It is holding your own pain with the same kindness you would offer someone you love. In silence, you realize that you don't need to be hard on yourself to be strong. As days pass, the voice of pain begins to change. What once screamed now speaks calmly. What once demanded attention now asks for care. Silence does not erase wounds, but it teaches you how to live with them without letting them control you. It turns suffering into understanding and hurt into wisdom. When healing is given a chance, it moves quietly. It doesn't announce its arrival. You notice it in small ways, in steadier breathing, in softer reactions, in moments where peace lasts a little longer than before. Silence creates the conditions where this kind of healing can grow. By stopping your own noise, you honor your pain instead of fighting it. And when pain is honored, it no longer needs to shout. It becomes part of your story, not the whole of it. Silence does not break you open. It holds you together long enough for healing to begin. The world teaches us noise before it teaches us peace. From the moment we wake, we are trained to reach, to check, to absorb opinions that were never meant to guide our lives. The noise tells us who is winning, who is behind, who deserves rest, and who does not. Over time, this constant input becomes a habit, and we mistake it for normal. Silence interrupts that pattern. It creates a pause where the world's voice weakens and your own begins to recover its strength. Unlearning the noise is not easy because distraction has been designed to feel necessary. It promises comfort while quietly stealing clarity. Silence breaks that illusion. In quiet moments, you start noticing how often your attention has been pulled away from your own needs. You realize how rarely you've allowed your mind to settle without being entertained or informed. Silence brings awareness, and awareness is the first step toward reclaiming control. As days pass, the urge to constantly consume begins to soften. You no longer feel the same urgency to fill every gap with sound or stimulation. Your thoughts slow down, and in that slowing, you gain depth. Silence teaches you that not every moment needs to be productive, and not every thought needs to be followed. Peace begins to feel less like an achievement and more like a natural state you had forgotten. The language of the world is loud and demanding. It speaks in comparisons, deadlines, and expectations. Silence introduces a different language, one of presence, patience, and intention. In this new language, rest is not laziness, and stillness is not failure. Silence rewrites your inner dialogue, replacing pressure with permission and urgency with understanding. You begin to notice how much of your stress came from constant reaction, reacting to news, reacting to opinions, reacting to imagined futures. Silence creates space between stimulus and response. In that space, choice appears. You respond thoughtfully instead of reflexively. This is where peace becomes practical, not just emotional. Unlearning noise also changes how you relate to others. You listen more deeply because you are no longer rehearsing your next response. You speak more carefully because words regain their weight. Silence sharpens awareness, allowing you to sense what truly matters and what can be released without loss. Relationships become clearer when they are no longer drowned in unnecessary sound. Peace does not arrive all at once. It arrives in layers, quietly replacing habits that once felt permanent. You notice it in your breathing, in your sleep, in the way your body no longer feels constantly braced for impact. Silence trains your nervous system to trust calm again. After 21 days, the noise does not disappear from the world, but it no longer lives inside you the same way. You carry a steadiness that is not easily shaken. You have learned a new way of listening, a new way of being present. Silence does not remove you from life. It teaches you how to move through it without being consumed. By unlearning the noise, you remember something essential. Peace is not found by adding more, it is found by letting go. Growth rarely announces itself. It does not arrive with noise, applause, or immediate proof. It begins in places no one sees, in the quiet effort, the unseen patience, the private decision to keep going when there is no reward yet. Like roots pressing into dark soil, growth works silently, building strength long before it reaches the light. What looks like stillness on the surface is often deep transformation underneath. In darkness, roots learn direction. They stretch, twist, and search without certainty, guided only by instinct and necessity. There is no praise for this work, no guarantee that sunlight will ever come, yet the roots continue. Human growth follows the same pattern. The moments when you feel unnoticed, delayed, or stuck are often the moments when your foundation is being strengthened. Silence holds this process gently, allowing it to unfold without pressure. Many people abandon growth because it feels invisible. They want signs, validation, and quick results. But real change does not rush. It builds quietly through discipline, through reflection, through choosing better even when no one is watching. Silence teaches you to trust this unseen work. It reminds you that progress does not need witnesses to be real. In the quiet seasons, resilience is formed. You learn endurance by continuing without certainty. You learn humility by accepting that not everything blooms on your timeline. Silence trains you to respect the process instead of forcing outcomes. It teaches you that becoming takes time, and time is not wasted when it is used to grow inwardly. Darkness is not punishment, it is preparation. The soil that hides the roots also protects them. In silence, you are protected from comparison, from premature judgment, from the pressure to perform before you are ready. You are allowed to strengthen privately so that when you finally rise, you are not easily shaken. When growth finally becomes visible, it often surprises others. They see the flower but not the years spent underground. They admire the confidence without knowing the doubt it survived. Silence ensures that when you stand tall, you are rooted deeply enough to remain standing. What grows quietly is not fragile, it is grounded. You begin to understand that not every season is meant for display. Some seasons are meant for building. Silence teaches you to honor those seasons instead of resisting them. You stop rushing yourself. You stop measuring your worth by how visible your progress looks to others. You learn that depth matters more than speed. When the time comes to bloom, it happens naturally. There is no force, no strain, just readiness. The flower does not apologize for taking time. It opens because it is prepared. Silence works the same way within you. It prepares you for moments you cannot yet imagine by shaping you in ways you cannot yet see. So trust the quiet work being done inside you. Even if nothing seems to be happening, something is growing. Roots are forming, strength is settling, and when you finally rise into the light, you will understand that the silence was not an absence. It was the reason you were able to bloom at all.